The world held its breath this morning as the theoretical limit of Middle Eastern escalation was shattered in a single hypersonic flash. For months, the intelligence community has warned of a red line that, if crossed, would fundamentally alter the security architecture of the 21st century. That line hasn't just been crossed, it has been vaporized. Reports are now confirming a precision strike involving Iran's advanced Fateh-2 hypersonic missile, a weapon specifically designed to bypass the most sophisticated integrated air defense systems on the planet. The target was not a symbolic desert outpost or an empty hangar. Initial intelligence suggests a direct hit on a high-value IDF command installation, resulting in the confirmed loss of 7 senior officers. This is not merely another chapter in a shadow war. This is a daylight decapitation strike that changes every calculation from Tel Aviv to Washington. The significance of the Fateh-2's deployment cannot be overstated. In the specialized world of geopolitical intelligence, the hypersonic gap has long been a quiet panic among Western analysts. By successfully putting a bird on a target of this magnitude, Tehran has signaled that the era of Iron Dome invincibility may be coming to a violent close. We are looking at a localized event with immediate, gravity-defying global consequences for oil markets, carrier strike group deployments, and the very definition of regional deterrence. We are tracking this high-stakes development minute by minute as the diplomatic cables turn white-hot. To stay informed on this rapidly evolving crisis and to understand the deep state maneuvers behind these headlines, ensure you are subscribed to this channel for our full investigative breakdowns. To understand how a hypersonic flash over the Negev desert became the spark for a potential global conflagration, we have to look back at the calculated decade-long erosion of the Middle Eastern status quo. This was not a random act of aggression. It was the culmination of a slow-burn escalation cycle that has been accelerating since the early 2020s. The geopolitical architecture of the region has long rested on the pillar of Israeli air superiority, a dominance that Tehran has spent billions to systematically dismantle through its missile program. The timeline leading to this morning's strike begins with the shifting of the shadow war into the light. For years, the conflict was defined by maritime sabotage, cyber attacks on infrastructure, and targeted assassinations. However, the introduction of the Fateh-2, Iran's first domestically produced hypersonic glide vehicle, marked a fundamental shift in the regional balance of power. Intelligence reports from as early as 2024 indicated that Iran was no longer satisfied with deniable proxy warfare, and was instead moving toward a doctrine of direct, high-precision conventional deterrence. The tension reached a boiling point in the months leading up to today's event. Diplomatic efforts in Geneva and Doha had repeatedly stalled, as major actors failed to reach a consensus on nuclear monitoring and regional influence. Each failed negotiation was followed by a more aggressive military posturing. First, the deployment of advanced drone swarms, then the testing of medium-range ballistic missiles, and finally, the code red warnings issued by Western intelligence agencies regarding a potential decapitation strike. In this theater, the actors are well-defined, but their motives are increasingly desperate. On one side, we have an Israeli defense establishment tasked with maintaining an impenetrable shield. On the other, a defiant Iranian command emboldened by new technological capabilities and shifting global alliances. Between them lies a graveyard of failed treaties and red lines that were ignored until they were finally crossed. The epic Friday fail for global diplomacy has now transitioned into a Saturday morning reality where 7 high-ranking officers are gone, and the historical buffer of plausible deniability has vanished. The tactical execution of this morning's strike represents a watershed moment in modern electronic and kinetic warfare. According to preliminary signal intelligence, the engagement began not with a missile launch, but with a massive synchronized cyber assault on regional early warning radar arrays. This digital fog was designed to create a momentary blindness in the integrated defense network, providing the window necessary for the Fateh-2 to enter its terminal phase. Step by step, the event unfolded with terrifying precision. At 0412 local time, a mobile transporter erector launcher, TEL, in western Iran transitioned to a launch posture. Within seconds, the Fateh-2 exited the atmosphere before re-entering at speeds exceeding Mach 15. Unlike traditional ballistic missiles that follow a predictable parabolic arc, the Fateh-2 utilized its maneuverable glide vehicle to execute high G lateral shifts, effectively skipping off the upper atmosphere to bleed off radar tracking locks. Side A, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, claims this was a surgical response to previous escalations, asserting that their telemetry confirms the 100% destruction of the intended command bunker. They have released low-resolution satellite imagery purportedly showing the exact moment of impact, claiming that the hypersonic kinetic energy alone was enough to penetrate several meters of reinforced concrete without the need for a massive conventional warhead. Side B, the Israeli defense establishment, has remained largely silent, though high-level sources confirm a significant kinetic event at a southern installation. While they acknowledge the loss of personnel, they are currently investigating whether the air defense failure was due to a technical malfunction or a genuine technological overmatch by the Fatah-2. Available intelligence reports and independent analysts suggest a dual strike was used, a swarm of low-cost decoys to saturate the Iron Dome and David's sling interceptors, followed by the single high-velocity hypersonic spear that struck the heart of the command center. The key uncertainty remains the exact status of the remaining command staff and whether this strike has permanently blinded a portion of the regional surveillance grid. The successful penetration of a hardened IDF command center by a hypersonic glide vehicle is not just a tactical victory. It is a fundamental restructuring of the regional power balance. To understand the gravity of this event, one must look at the geography of the target. The facility in question serves as a central nerve center for the David's sling and arrow defense tiers, which are the primary shields protecting major population centers and sensitive nuclear infrastructure. By decapitating the command staff at this specific location, the kinetic strike has effectively created a blind spot in the most advanced air defense network in the world. Militarily, the Fatah-2 has achieved what decades of conventional ballistic missile development could not: the neutralization of the Iron Dome prestige. For years, the strategic assumption in Washington and Tel Aviv was that any incoming Iranian threat could be intercepted with a high probability of success. That assumption is now a casualty of war. The operational implications are immediate. If one missile can get through, the entire concept of total defense is revealed as a fallacy. This forces a shift from a defensive posture to a much more volatile, preemptive offensive doctrine, as the shield can no longer be trusted to hold. Geographically, this strike places every high-value asset in the eastern Mediterranean within a 12-minute kill chain. We are talking about offshore gas platforms, naval ports, and even the Red Line air bases that house the F-35 fleet. The strategic picture has shifted from a slow-motion chess match to a game of hypersonic quick draw. The regional deterrent that has prevented an all-out regional war for 20 years has been compromised, leaving both sides in a state of hypervigilance where the first to blink may lose everything. The intelligence community is currently scrambling to reassess what was previously thought to be a 5-year window before such a technological overmatch could occur. According to high-level intelligence assessments, the Fatah-2's performance suggests a significant leap in indigenous guidance systems, likely bolstered by satellite data sharing from non-Western global powers. Analysts at major international security institutes warn that this strike represents a Sputnik moment for Middle Eastern missile defense. Military analysts point out that the loss of 7 senior officers is not just a personnel issue. It is a massive intelligence vacuum. These were the architects of the regional containment strategy, one expert noted. Their sudden removal from the kinetic theater creates a window of operational chaos that Tehran may look to exploit before the command structure can be reconstituted. Academic and policy experts at leading think tanks are now debating whether the Netanyahu Protocol, a high-stakes doctrine of immediate and disproportionate response, will be triggered, or if the sheer shock of the technological failure will force a tactical pause. The consensus among the intel watchers is clear. The era of static defense is over. We are entering a phase of dynamic deterrence, where the ability to strike first and strike fast is the only remaining currency. If you want to stay ahead of these high-level intelligence shifts and understand the moves that the mainstream media is missing, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We provide the deep dive analysis you need to protect your understanding of a world in flux.